Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast here. I am Jeffrey Kirby. As always, each and every week, we're joined by Jarryd, even though this week we are joined by The Undertaker, apparently. So, Undertaker, how are you doing today?
I'm here, still kicking. Still kicking.
Just whatever you do, please don't choke slam me. But obviously, got some interesting news this week with the Steelers. We got an answer on a particular coaching position. Also, today, when me and Jarryd are recording this, relived the 15th anniversary of Super Bowl 43. So we might, kind of go back and, you know what, was actually, before we really get started, I want to do that. Let's do that now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back 15 years ago. How old would I have been? So that was, I think I might have been 9 years old.
So 10 for me.
So yeah, I would have been 9 years old when that game happened. And first and foremost, can we please have that again? I just want to relive. I want to relive that moment as an adult, where if we actually win the Super Bowl, we could actually make our way to Pittsburgh for the damn parade.
Oh yeah, instantly.
Oh, listen. I could only, like Jarryd, for example. Now, for me, it's a little different story. I only got to hop in the car, drive 2 hours, call it a day. Jarryd, I could only imagine, like, if you're up like 30, like, imagine if you were up 30-7 or something in the Super Bowl at halftime. Jarryd sitting there was like, "Yeah, let's go and get the first flight to Pittsburgh tomorrow, or however many days work screw off."
Oh yeah.
You know what's funny? So my GM at my work he's a big football fan.
Mm-hmm.
He told me, he always messed around with me and said, listen, if the Steelers ever made it to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl while I was working there, he just said, you wouldn't even have to worry about trying to call off. He already knows what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my GM. So but obviously we have not had that happen.
It's been a while.
Close in a while. First, we need to get a playoff win before we do that. But going back to that time, 2009, February 1st. That was. How many times have you ever gone back and just like rewatched the whole game?
I've watched a couple times, not like crazy. I watched like highlights of it, not just the whole game.
Oh, see, listen, the amount of times that I've rewatched that whole game is scary. Let's put it this way. So obviously, a few months ago, when I was laid up, when I was not able to walk, and I was kind of just curled up like a cocoon, when I was recovering from the surgery, I found a playlist on YouTube, and it was the entire 2008 Steelers season from week 1 against Houston all the way to the Super Bowl. I watched every single damn game.
Jeez.
From week 1 all the way through. I just did nothing but binge watched the 2008 Steelers. And it pissed me off every time because I'm like, damn, why can't we have that again?
It's a long time. A lot of things need to be fixed first.
Yep. But let's do this. Minus the Santonio Holmes touchdown catch.
Mm-hmm.
And minus the James Harrison pick 6. What was your favorite moment from that game?
Man, those were my favorite moments. But Ben driving down the field, usually keep the lead. I like it close games. Cardinals came back, scored. Ben had to have it drive. Clutch moment, the fourth quarter comeback, that one always, the most. Is what is my probably the favorite series, I would say. I don't have a favorite like play or drive.
I think my favorite play that wasn't those two plays, I think it has to be. I think it's the catch on that final drive to Santonio Holmes that set everything up. Breaks a tackle and just goes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be that, from what I can remember, that being my favorite play. Because you're sitting here thinking, oh my God, at that moment, he goes and breaks off like a 30-something yard pass play or whatever. You're like, oh my God, are they really going to do this? And remember, they started back in their own territory, way back. And if I'm not mistaken, they got a holding call on that drive too.
I think they did.
If I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong. And if I am and someone wants to correct me, please go ahead. If I'm not mistaken, it might have been Chris Kimoatu who got the holding call, their left guard. I may be wrong there, but for some other reason, it's telling me it was him. And that whole entire that play, just being, I can see it vividly. Catches it, kind of just swirls around someone. They fall, and he just goes, and you're like, oh my God. But you go back to remember that play, the play before the Santonio Holmes touchdown catch. Mm-hmm. That ball went straight through Santonio's hands.
Yep.
Right here, it was on the money. Just went right through his hands, and then obviously, clearly found redemption. And that was. I just to be able to relive that again and be able to go to have our stairway to 7.
Oh man,
that would be.
I hope soon. We'll see.
Yeah, well, we shall see. Let's get into the big news of the week for the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers hire a new offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. Now the reactions immediately, and I will say I was guilty of this as well. Maybe not nowhere near to the extent of what I saw or what we saw, but we see the Steelers hire Arthur Smith. And I think the first immediate reaction was, shit, why wasn't it Zach Robinson? Why wasn't it Clint Kubiak? Why didn't we wait for one of those guys? Mm-hmm. And thinking to yourself, listen, it may have not been those guys, but first and foremost, he just got hired 30 seconds ago. He hasn't done a damn thing yet.
They're already bashing him.
And they're already ridiculing. Like, just already giving him just the Matt Canada treatment. Mm-hmm. It's like, let's calm down for a sec. Let's calm down. But then, when you start to break it down, when you start to look at it a little bit deeper, you think to yourself, hey, this actually may not have been a bad hire at all. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to the 2019 season. Arthur Smith was the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. Remember that they went to the AFC title game that year, and they were doing pretty damn good. 2019, I did a little bit of research on this. In 2019, they were 12th in total offense, so just outside the top 10.
Pretty good.
At this point, we would take that all day long. And they were 10th in points per game at 25.1. Again, we will take 25 points per game, considering that we were happy when we ever scored 20 points. Let's get to the 2020 season. They were 3rd in total offense in all of the NFL, and they were 4th in points per game at 30. They were averaging 30 points a game. And you say to yourself, oh, yeah, well, they had a good squad. Let's look at some of the comparisons between that offense and this offense. First and foremost, Derrick Henry. Now, I'm not saying that Najee Harris and Jalen Warner are Derrick Henry, especially at that time. I'm not saying that. But Derrick Henry feasted in those two, in those seasons. They had A.J. Brown, and they had Ryan Tannehill, who Arthur Smith made Ryan Tannehill look like a pretty damn good quarterback.
He did.
You have Najee and Jalen Warren. You have a nasty 1-2 combo. You have a good wide receiver core with Pickens and Deontay. And then you have Pat Freiermuth, Connor Hayward as your tight ends. I think Arthur Smith is going to bring to this team exactly what the Steelers want to do. They're going to be able to run the football. They're going to want to run the football. And they're going to be able to do that effectively. Mm-hmm. And I also think I'm going to be curious to see how much Arthur Smith is going to be able to help Kenny out. because I want to see if he was able to make Ryan Tannehill look like a pretty damn good quarterback. Let's see what maybe he can do with Kenny.
Mhm.
Then you see people ridicule. Oh, all they wanted to do was immediately go to look what happened in Atlanta. They went 7-10, 3 straight years, and pretty much their whole entire time he's been there, they've had the 8th overall pick.
Yeah.
I also think in that situation, they didn't put him in the best of situations quarterback-wise.
No, they did not. And, different from a head coach to an offensive coordinator, you would think.
Yes, 1,000,000%. Because, and the prime example was shit.
What's the team?
The Raiders' old coach. I just drew a blank.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we're Josh McDaniels. I don't know why I drew a blank for half a sec. Josh McDaniels. Good offensive coordinator. Very good offensive coordinator. Not a good head coach. Just some guys are better off being coordinators than head coaches.
Yeah.
But here's the positive part about this as well. You have 2 former head coaches, or you have a former head coach and obviously Mike Tomlin. So you have, and Arthur Smith's obviously, he's not going to, I don't think those 2 are going to butt heads.
No.
Or anything like that in terms of power, anything like that. Now, I do think that experience comes into play and all that. You have another brain that you could really pick on, and maybe pick up on a thing that Arthur Smith maybe have learned from someone else or whatever. Yeah. He was around Mike Vrabel. Now, Mike Vrabel obviously has not been in the league nowhere, and obviously, well, he's currently not a head coach.
Hey, how about a defensive assistant we need?
Well, you know what? I wouldn't want to take Mike Vrabel away from Ohio State.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
Because what I need to have, here's what's going to happen. One of 2 things are going to happen. Either Ohio State's going to win the national championship next year.
Here we go.
Or Ohio State loses to Michigan again. And in that case, I might just off myself. Ryan Day goes, and they bring in Mike Vrabel, and you say, hello, welcome back to the Ohio State, Mike Vrabel.
Not many head coaching positions. I see a lot filled up, kind of. And Washington got Dan Quinn.
Yeah, that happened earlier today. But you know what? I will say I'm a tiny bit. I'm curious to see how maybe other people. I just saw that. I didn't see any reaction. From that. My personal initial reaction is I'm very surprised that they wanted to go with a defensive-minded coach, considering that you're probably going to draft a quarterback.
Yep.
Now, granted, you could say, hey, look at Houston. They brought in DeMeco Ryans. You got CJ Stroud. Worked out pretty damn well. Yep. Yes. So there is precedent for this. Mm-hmm. However, I feel like more times than not, if you're going to get a rookie a rookie quarterback, you're going to draft, especially as high as they're going to be. Mm-hmm. Why not bring in an offensive guy to really help him learn, adapt, and gain chemistry with them? So that'd be my only initial reaction. Yeah. Now, again, it's Washington.
But I'm just saying for Mike Vrabel's and Bill Belichick's, it's like there's not many.
Well, Bill Belichick, he only wants to be a head coach, and he wants the record. That's all he cares about. That's all he wants. And I think part of the now, obviously, his age, has definitely got something to do with Bill Belichick not being a head coach. Other part of it too is he's only how many wins away? 15, maybe 15, 16 wins, somewhere in that vicinity. Mm-hmm. So if you go to a team, he gets the record. He's done. So you only get a 2, maybe 3-year commitment out of him. Mm-hmm. So in today's NFL, you would really much rather have a younger guy that if he is great, then you could just go for as long as humanly possible. Yeah. But that was just, to me, that was a little weird. Uh-huh. It's a little weird, but it's Washington. They're just absolute dumpster fire all the time, and this is why they're drafting second overall for the second time or third time in God knows how long. But back to the Steelers. I think overall, I want to see how this goes.
Yep, I agree.
And I think the one nice thing about this too, I don't think it's going to change how they want to approach free agency and approach the draft.
Agreed.
Because I think I think before they wanted to go after some offensive line, and I think after they're still going to want to go. I think this kind of encourages, I think this kind of emphasizes that, hey, let's go and get ourselves an interior offensive lineman. Let's go and get us a center. Let's go, and if we could get us another tackle, I'd be fine with that.
Yep.
Go in whatever direction you wanted to go with the tackle. Get yourself a center in the second round. That'd be a dream scenario for me. I would be totally okay. You get a tackle because as of right now, so Jackson Powers-Johnson from Oregon, he's obviously he had a phenomenal Senior Bowl from what we've been told. That's the bad part about working two jobs is I barely get time to look at the Senior Bowl and all that. So I didn't get to, but I was talking to some people who were able to pay attention. They said that JPJ, which first and foremost, having two JPJs, one on offense and one on defense, that'd be nice. Our first JPJ looks pretty damn good. So why not get the other one to make him pretty damn good? Why don't we? But I think while he did play really well, I still question whether he's going to still be a first round guy. There's a chance. I think if he continues to play, or if he continues to show out, maybe there's a chance. Maybe.
Because not a 20 because
I've seen one, maybe two mock drafts with him going into round one. And now, granted, there's always, when you look at these mock drafts, there are times where you'll see guys go in the first round and then they don't end up going to the third round.
Yep.
So it's
still early in the process. We'll know as this gets closer.
Yeah, as we get closer to the combine, and once we get into April, we'll really understand more of where these guys rank right now, and how these teams value. But at the end of the day, if you could get yourself a tackle in round one, if you're able to get a center in round two, hey, and it may not even be Jackson Powers-Johnson. It might even be Zach Frazier from West Virginia, which would be hilarious. A West Virginia guy snap into a Pitt guy. That would be funny. That's like that'd be like a Michigan guy snap into a Ohio State guy, or an Ohio State guy snap into a Michigan guy. That's kind of funny. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that's gonna go. And I'm the more that I've thought about it, the more that I'm like, hey, okay, this isn't a bad hire.
Oh no, I'm trust the front office. They made the offensive coordinator move. You can't hate on it. You got to see. Let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens first. Let's get Mike Munchak back, please, if we can, to the offense.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that they might have already re-signed Pat Meyer. Which apparently, from what we were told, they did that before they signed the OC. Which, if that is actually true, I would be scratching my head a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I would like to have Mike Munchak, man. It would be nice, but we'll see what happens. Speaking
of offensive line coaches, one thing that happened not too awfully long ago that I am very happy about, Browns offensive line coach Bill Callahan, which is one of the best in the business, is heading off to Tennessee. So thank you. The downfall of Cleveland, even though they barely went up like this, they're just going right back down into purgatory. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful. But yeah, overall, I'm excited about this. We'll see what happens, and we gotta wait about 7 months or so.
Yeah, we just gotta wait and see. You gotta trust the process. Trust the process. See what happens.
Yeah, we got 7 or 8 months to wait. It's depressing to think about that.
You already know Kenny's the quarterback. It's like they're not going up to get one. I'd be shocked if we go trade for one, or I won't be surprised they draft one.
I have an idea.
Oh, what's the idea now?
This quarterback in mind. Me and this quarterback have one thing in common.
He went to Ohio State.
No. Well, I never went to Ohio State, so no.
Oh well, what?
The comparison is that me and him have had surgery on the same body part in the last 5 months. You like that?
No, Kirk, family member, cousins.
I would not be opposed if they wanted to do that. Hey, I'd be okay. But obviously, that's probably not realistic. You know what could be realistic though, and I should check on this real quick. I want to see something real quick. QB free agents. If there's someone, if he's a free agent, I would not be opposed to at all. He is okay. You know who I wouldn't be opposed to them signing as a backup if they didn't want to bring back Mason?
Who's that?
Ryan Tannehill.
You really thought about Ryan Tannehill?
Why not? He's played in that system before. If you bring him in understanding and knowing that he's the backup, maybe he could help mentor and help Kenny a little bit. He's seen a lot of football. He's won in the NFL.
Yep.
This isn't what happened last year with him and Will Levis. This isn't that, because he would understand his role. He would know what's up. And I think if you're able to get him, I would not be opposed to that at all. Now, granted, I really don't know if there's really a position for him to be a starting quarterback in the NFL now, especially with his age. So if you're able to maybe bring him in as a backup quarterback, I would not be opposed to it at all.
I was thinking of that. I was like 50-50 on it because he did play with Arthur Smith. He was, and he played well. Looked good as in his system. So, and he would know his role. So,
you would know your role and shut your mouth.
Exactly.
Shout out to Wayne. But yeah, I would not be opposed to it at all. Real quick, let's go over some free agent quarterbacks that are in this free agency class.
I already can name some right now.
So you got Kirk.
Yep.
You got Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yep.
Personally think he might end up back in Washington, but I wouldn't be opposed to that either. Tyrod Taylor. Marcus Mariota. Sam Darnold. Jameis Winston. Drew Lock. Baker's
going back to Tampa.
Yeah, I know. He's going back. I could only dream. Gardner Minshew, and then after that, just
Mason Rudolph.
Garrett Gilbert. Jake Browning. Felipe Franks.
Oh, God. He's a free agent.
Matt Barkley.
Jesus.
Carson Wentz. Nate Sudfeld. Easton Stick. Josh Dobbs. You know what? I know what I want Steelers to do now.
Tannehill and Dobbs now? Is that what you're saying?
No. There's one quarterback who's played with two teams in the AFC North. We might as well make him add his third.
Shane, bringing Flacco now? Really?
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
He could be QB3.
Yeah, I mean, if you know what, all things considered, when you really look at it, when it came to Flacco, now granted, what he did was awesome for them. Mm-hmm. Got them back from what looked like purgatory for this season they got him to the playoffs, helped them get to the playoffs. One thing also you don't realize is his interception percentage was not great at all. Mm-hmm. His touchdown percentage was all right, but his interception percentage, he turned the ball over a lot there. Well, clearly you saw 2 pick sixes, back-to-back drives. Yep. So you saw a little bit of that, which I think more than not, teams, if he was the actual starting quarterback, would get benched for that.
Yep.
But no, that was kind of more of just a troll job. But no, in reality, I wouldn't be mad at Ryan Tannehill at all. Now, will it happen? Probably not.
No.
But I wouldn't be opposed to it.
No, I think they're really going to bring back Mason, and he'd be the QB2. Cut
And
Mitch.
hey, I'd be okay with that.
And I'd be okay with that too. Cut Mitch. I don't know. I know you can't cut him yet, but once you can, just get it done.
You know what's crazy? I was thinking about this. It's crazy how from 1 year ago today till now, the perception of Mason Rudolph in the city of Pittsburgh among Steeler fans.
Oh,
1 year ago, Steeler fans did not like Mason Rudolph.
No.
They hated him. Now, 1 year later, they love him.
Mm-hmm.
They love him. It's great.
Love-hate relationship.
You know what? I'm happy for Mason because he got a lot of hate. He got a lot of hate.
Unfortunate situations, but
But now the fact that he's become a lot more beloved in Pittsburgh, good for him. Happy for him. And if he does end up leaving, good luck to you. Now thank you for helping us get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you come back, well then you'll actually be loved.
Yep.
And I hope someone doesn't make Arthur Smith sign a toilet bowl like they did for Matt Canada last year, or toilet C. That was hilarious. All right. We have ourselves our weekly. Let me pull it up. And I accidentally had just closed it. So let me pull it back up. Our weekly mock draft.
The Athletic, who's this?
So this is from The Athletic from, it looks like someone at Deontay Lee, whoever wrote this. So here we go. So number 1, the Chicago Bears going with Caleb Williams. Again, at this point.
It's just, what are they going to do? I don't know. Are they really going to trade him? I know it's still early in the process. Like, are you going to trade Justin Fields? Where are you going to send him to?
Yeah, and that's the question: is where does he go? Right now, I simply do not know.
Because you don't know what Minnesota. Minnesota's not going to trade.
Well, like Minnesota. Oh, sorry.
Can't even think of the teams where we go. Not the Raiders. No.
Yeah,
good luck to that guy's job, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just. Oof.
Yeah. All right, so number 2, Washington taking Drake May. Pretty much no surprise, although, like I said, if anytime I see a mock draft, if they put Drake May here or if they put Jaden Daniels here, to me will not be a surprise at all.
I don't know. Another North Carolina quarterback going to Washington.
Well, we'll see. Number 3, the New England Patriots. Oh, hello. Hello.
Wow.
Okay. So, number 3, the New England Patriots select Marvin Harrison Jr. from the Ohio State Buckeyes. Had to get my Gus Johnson on there real quick. So this is interesting. So what this tells me is, now here's the question, and this just popped up in my head. You just mentioned you don't know where Justin Fields would go.
And
is there any possibility that they will have traded for someone like a Justin Fields, and then you get him a Marvin Harrison Jr.? That could be a possibility.
Yep. Could.
Do they want to go with a quarterback in the second round? Now, mentioning Michael Penix Jr. with the third pick, doesn't even have anything in the conversation is nuts. Jaden Daniels obviously would be what we would think would be, if they're going to go with the quarterback in this situation, would be him. But it makes you wonder, do they want to take a chance on seeing if someone like, I don't know, like what their pick is in the second round. But if they do have, like, say, the third pick in the second round, so it'd be the 35th pick.
Yep.
Do they take a chance on seeing if maybe someone like J.J. McCarthy is there? Could be a possibility.
Yeah.
Could be a possibility. Number 4, the Arizona Cardinals select Dallas Turner. Okay, so this mock draft has already gotten real interesting. So this has already kind of gone off of the grid of what we've been usually seeing. So the first defensive player taking is Dallas Turner, the edge from Alabama. Thinking about it, Jonathan Gannon is a defensive-minded guy.
Yep.
One of their biggest things when he was with Philadelphia was getting to the quarterback.
Yep.
They need help getting to the quarterback. They need help badly.
And Dallas Turner is that guy.
At 4, I don't know if his value is that high.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
I can talk myself into them wanting to go with an edge rusher.
But yeah, it's the best probably edge rusher, Dallas Turner. Is he worth that high? Basically, is what you're questioning.
Number 5, the LA Chargers go after J.C. Latham, the offensive tackle from Alabama. So,
wow, first tackle, huh?
So the first tackle here would be J.C. Latham. Now, me personally, I've watched the consensus probably top 3 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched Joe Alt, I watched Olu Fashanu, and I watched J.C. Latham. I personally have J.C. Latham as offensive tackle 3. I go Joe Alt 1, Olu 2, Latham 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, he is the highest rate. Latham's the highest rated right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, wanting to protect Justin Herbert, okay, I can understand that. It makes me wonder. So,
just at 5.
See, I'm not necessarily so worried about him being at 5 because I think he's going to end. I think in reality he'll go top 10.
Well, top 10, I see it, but top 5.
But again, Rashawn Slater has been awesome for them.
Yep, yeah.
So you want to get your right tackle,
mm-hmm.
so you could talk yourself into that. Yeah, it's just we haven't seen them go with an offensive tackle in the mock drafts that we have seen.
Yep, we've seen receiver.
So and receiver still is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And Malik Neighbors would be probably that guy in this situation. Number 6, the New York Giants select Malik Neighbors, and good Lord, do I love this pick for New York.
Mm-hmm.
I love this pick for them because we've mentioned this before. They have a bunch of milling guys, but they don't have that dude. They don't have that guy. And Malik Neighbors could turn into that guy.
And I think the Giants are going to have one of those 3. Well, sorry, Marvin Harris is not going to get down there. So it'll be what? Odunze, Neighbors. Who's the other one?
So it would depend on. Or you're thinking of maybe Keon Coleman. So I think if you're them, you kind of ask yourself, what kind of receiver do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Because Malik Neighbors is a guy that he's a shifty guy. So I think I end up really liking this pick because you get him, and then you have Jalen Hyatt in that offense too. Mm-hmm. You got a couple speedsters in there. Number 7, the Tennessee Titans select Joe Alt, the offensive tackle from Notre Dame. Oh. I like this pick for them.
Yep.
I don't mind this pickup at all. So.
Yep. That's good.
And obviously not. And like I said, I personally have Joe Alt as offensive tackle 1. You pair him up now with Bill Callahan, mm-hmm. one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. Yeah. I like this pick a lot for them. Mm-hmm. Number 8, the Atlanta Falcons selecting Jaden Daniels, a quarterback from LSU. If this happened in Atlanta, you might as well throw a party because you just had Jaden Daniels fall to your lap at pick number 8. You wouldn't have had to trade up at all. You let the draft come to you, and he fell right into your lap. Now, Jaden Daniels is a little raw. Yes, he is. Maybe not as raw as what Anthony Richardson was last year.
Yep.
Dude is talented. Dude is talented as hell. You give him Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
You could do some work with him.
Yep.
You can make something happen.
I'd be a happy Falcons fan.
Yeah, if you're happy. And I know one certain Falcons fan, and I would hate that because that means he would be happy, and I don't like that. So, number 9, the Chicago Bears go after Olu Fashanu, the offensive tackle from Penn State. So now in this case, they got their quarterback of the future, and they get their tackle of the future.
Yep.
Now, Olu is a guy that, for me, the film didn't stand out to me as much as I thought it was going to. Not saying that he's a bad player at all. He's still a very good football player. And he doesn't get as much push in the run game as I thought.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying this as in general of his whole tape, or like a certain part of it, or like just last year?
Well, just last year from the tapes that I watched from last year. But like I said, he's not a bad guy at all. Mm-hmm. He's not bad at all. Now, if you want to try to find negative tape on him, just go watch the Ohio State tape. He struggled in that game a lot, but there was definitely some good tape out there for him as well. And at the end of the day, I like the idea of they went and got what was his name last year? The tackle that I did not want, the right tackle.
Darnell Wright.
Darnell Wright. So they got Darnell Wright last year. They get Olu this year. So I can appreciate you going tackle in back-to-back drafts, wanting to protect your quarterback. I don't mind that at all.
Don't mind it.
Number 10, the New York Jets select Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia. Now,
wow, that Brock Bowers is probably the most weird.
He's the wild card.
He's the wild card of this.
He is the wild card of this draft because we've seen him go as high as 5, but we've also seen him go. I've seen him go as low as 15.
Oh, I see him lower too.
And you've seen him lower. So his value is just so out there. You simply don't know. Now, granted, I think for the second straight year, the Jets are kind of upset that they didn't get one of the top 3 tackles.
Yeah.
Considering, again, that Dwayne Brown was around when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. But I don't. Do you want to get Zach Wilson a weapon? There you go.
You mean Aaron Rodgers?
Or Aaron Rodgers, yes. I am drawing a blank today, as you can clearly tell. I am, Jesus, Lord have mercy. Well, we'll see, depending on how much. We'll just see how that goes.
Yeah.
Number 8, death, taxes, and a Minnesota Vikings selecting a corner.
Man, it's like a guarantee. I feel like every year they always take a corner.
Every year, it's like, good Lord have mercy. However, so me and our boy Herb, you guys have seen him on the channel before. Me and him were talking earlier today about corners. Now, we both were in agreement that Terrion Arnold was cornerback 1. However, I do think there is a chance by the end of the process, we could be seeing Quinyon Mitchell, the corner from Toledo.
Toledo, yeah.
Possibly end up being quarterback 1. He had a phenomenal Senior Bowl. You get him into the pro day, you get him into get him to the combine, get him to his pro day. There, you can make the argument you could make him possibly his cornerback 1 when we're all said and done.
Oh yeah.
But for right now, I'm fine with them sticking with Terrion Arnold.
Yep.
Number 12, the Denver Broncos select Jarryd Verse, the edge rusher from Florida State. So they need to go after the quarterback in that division. You have Justin Herbert in that division. You have Patrick Mahomes in that division. You need to get to the quarterback. You had Bradley Chubb until you let him go.
Mm-hmm.
So now you need to get a pass rusher.
Yep.
You need to find that dude, and in this case, they end up finding that dude.
Oh yeah, they need pass rusher help bad.
So move on to number 13. Hello. The Las Vegas Raiders select Michael Penix Jr.
Really? 13.
Now, this to me is based on what your overall thoughts are on Michael Penix Jr. Because there are some people that are higher on him than others. I am in that little bit lower tier.
Agreed. That is a way too high. It's still early. I'm just gonna say he's way too high right now. Like,
we'll see. I mean, am I opposed to the Raiders this year getting a quarterback? No,
I'm not opposed to it at all.
But I don't think if it's going to be anyone, it would be JJ McCarthy. I think as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Number 14, the New Orleans Saints select Amarius Mims, the offensive tackle from Georgia. Again, the New Orleans Saints are just one of those weirdo, wacko teams.
They have no idea what to pick.
They are literally like in the worst position ever possible. They're just smack dab in the middle in the NFL, and that's about the worst place you could possibly be. But in this case, they go and get themselves an offensive tackle. I guess so be it. If you trust your board, then so be it.
Yeah.
Number 15, the Indianapolis Colts select Rome Odunze. Now, this pick I like.
Oh, I like it a lot.
With the possible departure of Michael Pittman, you get a guy who the area code is his range.
Yep.
So I have zero problems with this pick, and I really like it.
That's a good pick.
Number 16, the Seattle Seahawks select Leatu Latu, the edge rusher from UCLA. Well, with now being Mike McDaniel being their head coach, you have a defensive-minded head coach, so your first pick being a edge rusher should be to absolute no one's shock.
Yep.
To shock no one.
Didn't they get an edge rusher last year?
No, they got Devin Witherspoon and then JSN.
JSN, that's right. Jesus,
from the Ohio State. Got to do it every time. But, yeah, their defensive line needed help last year, and they get some help this year. Number 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Keon Coleman, the wide receiver from Florida State. Now,
no arguments for this pick.
I was going to say, you're the one that would know more about the Jags pick than I would, so.
No arguments on this pick. It doesn't like Calvin Ridley. Didn't think he'd do that well. Probably not. He's a free agent, by the way, if you didn't know. Calvin Ridley is a free agent, so don't know if he'll come back or not. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's a good pick for the Jags if Calvin Ridley doesn't come back.
All right. Number 18, the Cincinnati Bengals select Kool-Aid McKinstry, the cornerback from Alabama. So now the other Alabama corner goes off the board here. And Cincinnati, I think they maybe wouldn't have minded having an offensive lineman here.
Yep.
But I think in this case, and also can't fully rule out a receiver.
Yep, can't
fully rule out a guy like Brian Thomas from LSU. Yep. Can't fully roll him out with the possible departure of T. Higgins.
Man, two LSU guys. You have Brian Thomas and
Jamar.
Jeez.
But overall, you can never have too many corners.
Nope.
You can never have too many corners. Number 19, speaking of corners, the Los Angeles Rams select Cooper DeJean, the corner from Iowa.
I hope he plays well. I'm rooting for him.
I wonder why.
I just want to see it happen. Doesn't everybody?
I wonder why.
Doesn't everybody, though? Come on. You can't be the only one. There's not many.
I am an expert hater. I am also just kidding. But yeah, they want to help out on that defense, especially in that back end. Yeah. So wouldn't be bad for them. All right, here we go.
I have no idea.
Number 20. The Pittsburgh Steelers select Silas Fuaga, the offensive tackle from Oregon State. We get an offensive tackle. You're not going to get an argument out of me.
Nope.
You will not get an argument out of me. So.
Well, I've seen his name popped up a lot. Where would they put him in here? I'm trying to read what it says. I can't really read it.
So it says Roger Jones was a good start Good start to retooling Pittsburgh offensive line, but the work isn't done. Fuaga has all the measurables and moves bodies in the run game. He's also versatile enough to treat as a ball of clay in his development process. Fuaga doesn't have necessarily mobility in his pass sets to drop him in as a starting left tackle, but he can work his way over there in time, and he'll thrive on the interior.
So he's a right tackle or a left tackle? That's the question. I'm guessing he's saying they're going to put him as a left.
I mean,
either way works. Anything better than Dan Moore, please.
I think he played a little bit. I think he was a right tackle.
Okay.
So in that case, a little bit better. So, all right, there we go. Number 21, the Miami Dolphins select Tyler Guyton, the offensive tackle from Oklahoma, who this was another guy that had a really good Senior Bowl.
Yep.
And so Miami, they want to build an offensive line there. I have zero issues. We've seen a lot of them going with offensive line here, offensive tackle here. So I don't mind this at all.
Yep.
Number 22, the Philadelphia Eagles select Kamari Lassiter, the corner from Georgia. Now, this is the first time I've seen him as a first. You know what? There's so many corners that could go in round one. There's like 10 possible corners that could go in round one. It's insane.
Yeah.
If you need a corner in this draft, then you have.
If you need a corner, a tackle. Like
you have options.
There's options for sure.
And I think for them, this wouldn't be a bad idea at all, considering that they've taken defensive line the last couple of years. So why not go and get yourself a corner and help yourself out on the back end?
Yeah, they need it.
Number 23, the Houston Texans select Troy Fatanu, the tackle / guard from Washington. So immediately right there, the moment you see tackle / guard, you like that because that brings versatility. And with them last year, their offensive line was an absolute mess.
Yep.
So,
mess.
Again, you're not going to get an argument out of that with me. Number 24, the Dallas Cowgirls select Patrick Paul, the offensive tackle from Houston. This is someone that you'll see on some mocks and you'll not see on others. Yeah, but this is what happens when you got to get towards that back end of the first round. You're going to get that from time to time. And Tyler Smith that they've had, he's been pretty damn good.
My first ever seeing of his name. So
I've seen him on a couple drafts, on a couple mocks. So I'm a little familiar with him. Number 25, the Green Bay Packers select Tyler Nubin, the safety from Minnesota. Now, I've seen Tyler Nubin on very, very, very select few mock drafts. I don't know if I necessarily think he'll go round one. I personally don't think so. But, I mean, again, there's not, when you look at the top end part of the safety room, it's not that great.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't think we've seen a lot of safeties are going to go well.
You have, if there is a safety, it would probably be Tyler Nubin, but I don't think so. But again, like I just mentioned, when you get to the bottom part of that draft, you never know. Number 26, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Brian Thomas, the wide receiver from LSU. We talked about him possibly going number 18.
Well, I would like this pick for Tampa, though.
And with the possibility of Mike Evans leaving, they need to get one of those bigger receivers, and there you go.
I would like this pick for Tampa. I like it.
Number 27, the Arizona Cardinals select Graham Barton, again, the tackle from guard from Duke. I see him more as an interior guy. He would probably play more of guard. Excuse me. But in this case, so they got their wide receiver at pick number 3. And now they go, who did they get at number 4, actually? I apologize. Who did they get at 4? I got to go back up. Okay, so they got Dallas Turner. So they went and got an edge rusher at pick number 4. And now they go and get themselves an interior offensive lineman for Arizona, or with the second pick. All right. Not mad at it.
Nope.
Number 28, the Buffalo Bills select Jerzon Newton, the defensive tackle from Illinois. I'm a little interested about this pick considering the fact that I feel like they're very good already with the interior part of that defensive line.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I don't think they need a D tackle. I think they need another corner.
I was going to say, this is where, like, if for an example, if you have Quinny Mitchell still here on the board, you're Buffalo, I would run up
and get that pick. Because pair him up with whatever his name is on the other side, but he's been hurt a lot. But
well, you have Tre'Davious White.
So
number 29, the Detroit Lions select Nate Wiggins. Now, this is another guy that there's been at times you will possibly see him go as cornerback 1 in certain mock drafts.
Yep.
Now again, and I was just so earlier today, I was talking to a big time Detroit Lions fan. No, he ain't a bandwagon. He's actually a real deal fan. And I was talking to him earlier today, and he said, I straight up told him, I was like, a corner wouldn't be a bad idea at all with this pick.
They need one.
And they need one badly. And so there you go. You get yourself a corner at pick number 29. Number 30, the Baltimore Ravens select Chris Braswell, the edge rusher from Alabama. So this is the first time that I've seen him in a first round mock draft.
Never seen him.
But overall, again, edge rushers are one of those positions that there's a decent amount of guys for that position as well.
Mm-hmm.
You look at in terms of edge rushers, Dallas Turner, he's been gone. Leatu Latu from UCLA, he's already gone. Jarryd Verse, he's gone. So your top 3 are gone. You still have possibly Chop Robinson, Adisa Isaac from Penn State. You have Braylon Trice from Washington. You have Landon Jackson from Arkansas. So you have 7, or in this case, 4 or 5 other possibilities of where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
So, you know what? This pick right here, I know Chop Robinson played in a 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if they ended up wanting to play him. If Baltimore were to draft Chop Robinson and play him as that 3-4 outside backer, I would not be surprised to see that at all.
I would say Chop Robinson would be a good pick for them.
Number 31, the Kansas City Chiefs selected Donnie Mitchell, and good Lord have mercy. They need it. They need it.
Just pick a receiver and hope.
Yeah, at this point. And in this case, they have the 32nd overall pick, the defending Super Bowl champion San Francisco 49ers, selecting Kingsley Sumiata. I'm pretty sure I butchered his last name. I apologize. The offensive tackle from BYU. Seen him on quite a bit of mock drafts, and San Francisco, like they mentioned here, outside Trent Williams, their offensive line is nowhere near as good. Yep. Remember, not too awfully long ago, they let Mike McGlinchey go.
Yep.
So now they want to go and get themselves the other tackle on the opposite side, and there you go. So there is our weekly mock draft that we like to go over each and every week. And real quick, I think we're going to start doing a thing every week where I might just kind of go over and do a basic analysis over a certain prospect that I think will go in round 1. At some point in time, we'll end up doing the office quarterback. We'll get into those. This week, I mentioned Chop Robinson. I decided we'll do Chop Robinson this week. Okay. So our prospect of the week is none other than Chop Robinson, the defensive end from Penn State. Last year, he had 4 sacks, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 15 total tackles. You hear those stats and you're thinking, that's not that great. Watch the tape. And when I watched tape on him, I watched a couple games. There's a couple things that I really noticed about him. He has a burst coming off the edge. I remember watching the game against Michigan, and there were a couple times where his burst, now he didn't necessarily make a play, but he impacted plays with how quickly he was able to get off the ball. So he has a burst coming off the edge. He's a natural bender running the arc. And I think he has a frame. He's like 250 something. I think he has a frame that he'll be able to add a little bit more weight to if you wanted to do so. And if you wanted to make him more of a 4-3 hand in the dirt defensive end. I do think he's still a little raw as a pass rusher. Didn't really notice a whole lot of pass rush moves. I do question if he's going to be able to play on running downs. Are you going to be able to play him on first down? I question that to begin with. And I do think at times you'll see that he's a little stiff when in his movements. And I had a comparison for him. And when I'm watching the tape, this player immediately popped up into my head. Anthony Barr coming out of UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
UCLA Anthony Barr was someone who was very raw as a pass rusher, but had the ability to make plays based off of speed, being able to bend. And that was Anthony Barr. He needed to learn a pass rush move. He needed to develop more as a pass rusher. Now, I don't think Chop Robinson is nearly as raw as that, but I do think when I look at him, needs a little bit of development as a burst, able to bend. To me, that kind, and they were almost identical in body size too, and height, weight. They were almost identical.
Wow,
so
that's
I
great.
thought, I was like, oh. And Anthony Barr was a Madden 16 user god, so
he was.
he was. But yeah, so real quick, so that's something I'll do every week. I'll just kind of give you guys a quick basic breakdown on a possible prospect that'll go in round one. Like I said, we'll eventually get into, the quarterbacks. We'll get into some of the bigger guys, but I just kind of chose a random one this week. And our first one ended up being Chop Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's about it for this episode. I do want to say thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you guys did enjoy. And if you guys did, smash that like button, hit the red subscribe button, drop a comment. Do have some ideas for possible future content here very, very soon. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. And until then, hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe. Go Steelers. Fuck the Browns. Fuck the Ravens. Fuck the Bengals. Fuck Michigan. Fuck Orlando Magic.
Hey, shout out to Paulo being an all-star.
And LeBron's about to come home to Cleveland.
Oh my gosh. What did that pop up? Did that pop up in your head? You just wanted to say that?
No, there was something that came out today.
Oh my gosh.
And we all know what's about to happen.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and also fuck the Yankees and fuck UCF.
Okay.
But until then, have a great week. Have fun. Peace out.